Hey, welcome back to the channel. This is Chris. Today I want to talk about real quick about the lenses that I'm using on my Lumix cameras. I'm using the Lumix S5 and the S1 to film weddings and other kinds of commercial work. I'm making this video because at least I haven't personally seen a lot of recent videos talking about the lenses that people are using for their Lumix cameras. When I was on Sony, it felt like every other week there was a video talking about the lenses that people are using, and I guess I just want to get the ball rolling for us Lumix users. All right, and the first lens I want to talk about is the lens that came with my S5, which is the kit lens, the 20-60. My favorite part about this lens is the 20 millimeter focal length. It's a focal length that I wasn't used to, I had never worked with, and personally I like it. I'm using it right now. I like it because it lets you, like, you know, get up close on your subject, fill up the frame. Obviously not so close that you create like crazy distortion, but you get what I'm saying. I like it because it's wider than 24, so it just gives you the ability to catch a little bit more of the background, you know? So I personally like it. And then the focal range of 20-60, I think it's really usable. It's not as tight as a 24-70, but it's close enough, right? And then the aperture, that's probably my only, like, I guess if I had to complain, that's my only like complaint about the lens, the aperture, that it varies. So in video, if you're trying to zoom in, you know, you better be ready to fix your ISO, or if you shoot an auto ISO, I never do. If you shoot an auto ISO, maybe you don't care about that, but that's something you gotta consider. In photos, it's a focal length that it's really, you know, you can walk around street, do a lot with that 20-60, but to me, the aperture just kind of left me a little bit uninspired. I guess I'm just looking for the widest aperture, so that's me. If that's not really your thing, you don't really care, then I'm pretty sure you would like the 20-60 for photos, but for video, I think it works great. So I recommend it. If it's the only lens you got or the first lens you could afford, definitely check it out, all right? The next lens I want to talk about is the 50. And this is the Lumix 50. I like it. Personally, I like the 50 millimeter look. My favorite lens when I was on Sony was the 55 1.8 from Zeiss, and that's why I got this 50. I was hoping that it would give me that similar look. Focal length wise, it does, but the Zeiss is a Zeiss. It gives you a different kind of look. But anyways, I like using the 50 when I'm shooting interviews on my A camera. I like it because I like to back up a little bit, and since it's a 50, it gives me like nice background separation, you know, even if I'm shooting at 2.8, 3.2. So I like the 50 for that. When I'm filming weddings, I pull out the 50 during the reception, you know, because, you know, usually receptions are pretty dark and things like that. And if for some reason I don't have time to set up a light, or I'm just feeling lazy to set up a light, don't follow that rule. Please set up a light always. But anyways, do as I say, not as I do. I pull out the 50 and I put that on my camera that's on me, you know, during the reception. I walk around. If they're doing their first dances, I catch that on the 50. If, you know, people are interacting or people are on the dance floor or cake cuttings and all that, I catch that on the 50. So personally, I do like using the 50 a lot, and I recommend it. I like the look. Photo wise, super sharp, gives you, you know, if you're used to a 50, you're gonna like this 50, and it's really a light lens, so that's one of my favorite parts of it, you know. Next lens I want to talk about is the 85. The 85 came with my kit when I bought the S5, and as well, pretty much same thing as the 50. I like using the 85 when I'm shooting weddings. I like putting the 85 on my groom to catch his reaction, and you know, it helps me to not have to buy a 70-200 just yet, so I like it for that. You know, I could use the 85 on me when I'm using, like, during the reception, you know, as my handheld camera to get closer to the action, but sometimes it just gets a little bit too tight in smaller rooms, so that's why I don't do that too much. Primarily use it for the groom reaction, you know, during the ceremony, or when I'm filming interviews or anything like that. I use it as my B camera lens to get real tight, and that separation that you get from 85 is amazing. It looks really great. Photo wise, I like using the 85 a lot for street photography. I like using that focal length for that, and just like the 50, sharp, it's reliable, it's going to give you the look and results that you're wanting. And since they're both 1.8 and they're both super light, you can't really feel a difference weight wise when you're working with both lenses. So I like these lenses. I recommend them, right? The next one I want to talk about is newer to the kit. It is the Sigma 35 1.4. It is heavier, but I love this manual focus ring. Love it. I love it. It's super grippy. It's wide. It's big. It's easy to find. It has a clickless aperture or a clicked aperture. Personally, I don't use it because like my fingers this is my finger for aperture, and I don't feel like retraining my brain, so I don't use it. But if that's your thing, or if you want to experiment with it, it's there. And I love the 1.4. Like, God, is it hard to manual focus with it? Yes. But does it look freaking amazing when you nail focus for a millisecond? It looks amazing, all right? I like it. My tip is to put the camera to your face, use the viewfinder, and that will help you see the peaking a little bit easier. That's just me. Even with glasses, I still like doing that, all right? But anyways, back to the lens. It's heavy, so when I'm using this on the S5, it gives me a little bit more weight, and it keeps it steadier. When I'm using it on the S1, you know, that's just a heavy setup, so just gotta deal with it. And I got the 35 focal length just because when I'm shooting a 4K 60, if I'm using 50, it gets a little bit too tight in some situations. Like if I'm trying to get the couple walking, I don't want to have to be like a mile back to get them walking. I just want to kind of be like up there, being up close enough to be able to direct them, you know, guide them. So that's why I got the 35 and the 1.4. It's freaking nice. I love the background separation this lens gives you, and I just love the feel of the lens. It's heavy in your hand, and the manual focusing it just works great. Why did I get this one, the Sigma, over the Lumix? Honestly, I probably could have gotten the Lumix and I would have been just as happy, but I think the Sigma was like maybe 100 or 150 bucks more, and I got a better built lens. I got, you know, manual focusing, I got autofocus, and then I've got a 1.4. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I also like to use this lens during receptions. I'll put this on a tripod, and like I said earlier, I'll walk around with the 50 or the 85 to get those like tighter shots, right? And then finally, my favorite lens, the lens I love it so much that I bought it twice on 2 different camera systems. It is the Sigma 24-70. Love this lens. Love it. I was shooting weddings with the 50 all day long, which is great because you get that background separation, right? But 50 in some tighter rooms became a little bit hard, or trying to put it into 4K 60 in smaller rooms, it became not hard. It became just not fun. So I'm so glad I got the 24-70 at 2.8. You know, it's pretty bright enough, and literally this is the lens that I keep on my camera pretty much all the way up until I get into those low light situations like receptions. Other than that, it lives on my camera body that's on me all day. I haven't yet, but I mean, definitely, I remember when I was on Sony, I did use this lens to film interviews. And since it's 24-70, you could set it up to be your A camera lens or your B camera lens. And 70 millimeter at 2.8, it just looks so amazing. I love the background blur. Obviously, it's not as blurred out as 1.8 or 1.4, but to me, the convenience of just having one lens to worry about all day versus having to go and change lenses, you know, and sometimes weddings are just bang, 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 we got to get these shots. I'm perfectly fine just leaving this lens and knocking out the portrait session, the couple's portrait session with this lens. So I highly recommend it. I saw a lot of reviews online talking about how the autofocus is just complete trash. I don't know, guys. Lumix to begin with, it's not great autofocus, but if you can learn to work with the gear, it's gonna work for you. Like, I like it. For me, the autofocus works just fine, and all I do is put the camera in AF plus MF. If I see that the autofocus is just dragging or not fast enough, I'll just grab the ring and focus. And most of the time, once I get it close enough to what my subject is, the camera catches it. So if there's a bright off in the distance and I just kind of tell the camera, hey, go a little bit closer to infinity, then the camera will find the face and then it'll catch up to it and it'll lock on. Or I'll just shoot manual focus. It's a skill. We all got to learn it, and I've gotten used to it at this point. All these lenses are great. They all work with manual focus. My only complaint with the Sigma is that this ring, it's looser than the rest of them. But if you could get past that, it's a great lens, and I love absolutely everything that comes out when I use this lens. All right, so that was my kit. If you got any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you want to talk about any of these lenses, leave them in the comments. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers by liking this video, by subscribing to the channel. And yeah, if you want to see any like individual reviews, some of the things I've shot with these lenses, I know this was more like a talk to the camera kind of video, but if you want to see like a more in-depth video review on any of these lenses that I talk about today, leave it in the comments and I'll get to work. All right, thank y'all for watching. Peace.